At the beginning of the story, we see Janet drinking wine at a party. While she's enjoying her drink, her eyes meet Tom's, and both of them start making eye contact. After a moment, they walk to the washroom together, where they start kissing and getting romantic. After some time, a boy named Arthur comes there because he needs to use the washroom, but Tom and Janet are still inside and not coming out. Arthur then returns to the party and tells his colleagues, Karen and Val, that someone is inside the washroom and hasn't come out for a long time. Hearing this, Karen and Val laugh and say it must be Tom and Janet. They tell Arthur that this is a habit of theirs. They do this every time. Arthur, feeling curious, asks if Tom and Janet are newly married. Karen and Val tell him that no, they have actually been married for 14 years. Arthur is surprised and wonders how they still have such romance even after so many years of marriage. Just then, Tom and Janet arrive at the party, and Karen introduces Arthur to them, saying that she and Arthur work together. After some time, Tom and Janet say goodbye to everyone and leave the party early. But as soon as they reach home, they immediately start round 2 and become very happy being close to each other. Now, you might be wondering how there can be so much romance between them even after so many years of marriage. The real mystery of the story is about this very thing, which we will discover later. In the next scene, Janet is having a dream. She sees herself walking alone in a forest. As she moves forward, she comes across some red chairs, and then suddenly, she wakes up. She gets out of bed and starts getting ready for work. While she is getting ready, Karen sends her a message inviting her to dinner that night. Later in the evening, after finishing her office work, Janet returns home and sees that Tom has already done all the housework. Janet is feeling very tired, so Tom takes her to the room to help her relax. As they talk, they once again get romantic with each other. Suddenly, they remember that they were supposed to go for dinner that night, so they quickly get ready and leave. After reaching the restaurant, everyone orders their dinner. Then, Karen and Val handed Tom and Janet an envelope filled with money. They explained that earlier everyone had planned to book a resort for a weekend trip, but now there are very few rooms left for the couple's trip. Also, another couple has joined, so they are returning the money. Tom and Janet say that they don't mind adjusting on the sofa, but Val and Karen stop them and reveal the real reason. They tell them that in reality, all the other couples don't want them to come. They explain that they don't understand how Tom and Janet still have so much love for each other even after so many years of marriage. They say that Tom and Janet talk to each other all the time. They never fight, and even now, during dinner, they are lost in each other. That's why no one wants them to join the weekend trip. Hearing this, Tom replies that they simply love each other, and that besides being husband and wife, they are also best friends. After saying this, Tom and Janet leave the dinner. That same night, Janet has the same dream again, where she sees the red chairs. She suddenly wakes up, gets ready for work, and is about to leave when a man appears in front of their house. He introduces himself as Goodman and says that he works in the city and needs to talk to both of them about something very important. After this, he goes inside and sits with Tom and Janet. As they start talking, Goodman tells them that couples like them are very rare and that he has come to solve this very problem. Actually, it has been so many years since you both got married, yet there has never been a fight between you. Even if you argue, you forgive each other every time, and you also get physical 2 to 3 times a day. This much love between a couple is not normal, and I have come here to solve this problem. During this time, the man also starts telling them things about their personal life that no one else knew except for Tom and Janet. Both of them get completely shocked and ask Goodman what he actually wants. In response, he takes out a briefcase, inside which there are 2 injections. He tells them that both of them need to take these injections. He explains that this is a vaccine, and after taking it, they will become like a normal couple. Along with this, he also gives them a blank check and says that they can write any amount they want in return for taking the injection. He tells them that he has connections at the top, and besides giving them the injection, he is also offering them unlimited money. He then tells them that they have no other choice. Suddenly, the lights in their house start blinking. All of this starts making Tom feel uneasy, so he goes to drink some water. Meanwhile, Janet gets very angry. She picks up a nearby object and hits Goodman with it. Tom hears the sound and rushes back to the room, only to find that Janet has killed Goodman. Understanding the situation, he immediately tells Janet that it is not her fault. After this, both of them start searching on their laptops for ways to dispose of a dead body. But then they realize that they can be caught through their search history, so they immediately close the laptop and destroy it. Instead, they go to the library and start searching for information in books so that they don't leave any digital traces. After researching, they decide that burying the body is the safest option. They take Goodman's body to a crematorium and start digging a pit. But at that moment, Janet starts feeling guilty for killing a man. Tom comforts her and tells her that it wasn't her fault. It was self-defense, and she doesn't need to panic. After this, they bury the body and leave the place. When they return home, they start discussing everything that happened. They are feeling very disturbed by all of this when suddenly, they receive a phone call. Janet answers the call and starts talking. It is Karen on the other end. She apologizes for what happened last night and invites them again to a mansion for a couple's trip. Wanting to get away from all the stress, Tom and Janet accept the invitation. The next day, they pack their bags and leave for the mansion. Along with their luggage, they also take the briefcase that Goodman had brought. While they are on the way, Tom tells Janet that maybe all of this was just a prank. He suggests that maybe Karen or their friends planned the whole thing. He wonders if the person they hit was actually an actor and that everyone was just trying to play a joke on them. He points out that first, their weekend trip was canceled, but now they are suddenly invited again. Thinking about all of this, both of them start feeling nervous. They decide that if this really is a prank, they will have to act completely normal in front of everyone as if nothing happened. Finally, they reach the mansion. The place is only for couples who visit on weekends, but as soon as they arrive, they notice a car already parked there. Just then, a girl named Patricia comes to welcome them. She was the one who had made all the arrangements for this trip, and her husband was also there. Patricia starts showing them around the mansion, which is very big. It has many rooms, a theater, and even a special room filled with various guns, from pistols to snipers. When Tom and Janet ask about the guns, Patricia tells them that they are only there for decoration to make the mansion look beautiful. But after talking to Patricia, Tom and Janet start feeling suspicious. Patricia does not seem to be part of the prank because she looks completely normal. Meanwhile, her husband Donald is enjoying himself in the swimming pool while listening to music. Janet tells Tom to go and talk to Donald to find out whether this is actually a prank or if Donald is also involved in it. While Tom is heading towards the pool, two girls named Maud and Carla arrive. They are in a relationship with each other. Patricia welcomes them inside the mansion. After this, we see that Tom goes to the swimming pool and tries to start a conversation with Donald. But Donald does not like Tom at all, so he completely ignores him. Tom also does not like Donald's attitude and understands that Donald will not be involved in this. Tom then returns to the room, and while taking a shower, he talks to Janet. He tells her that Donald and Patricia are not part of this, so now they have to be careful and act completely normal. While talking, Janet comes close to Tom and says that it has been 2 to 3 hours since they arrived, but they have not gotten close to each other yet. After saying this, they get intimate right there in the bathroom. Now at night, Karen and Val arrive at the mansion. With them, there is another couple named Gretel and Richard. Patricia welcomes all of them. Then, Val tells Patricia that there is something special kept in the trunk of the car that will surprise her. He tells her to go and bring it inside. Patricia looks nervous as she walks toward the car. When she opens the trunk, she sees that it is filled with pizza boxes. Then, they all sit together and start having dinner. While talking, Patricia brings up something about Val. She tells everyone that when Val was in college, he used to play a lot of pranks. She recalls that once, he played a prank on her by making a girl in her dorm room pretend to be an FBI agent. Patricia says she got so scared that she had to be taken to the hospital. After hearing this, Tom and Janet start suspecting that maybe Val is the one behind all of this. But Val tells them that he used to do those things a long time ago, and now he has stopped playing pranks. After this, Tom and Janet go to a room to discuss. Janet tells Tom that he should go and talk to Karen to try to find out the truth. Tom then goes to Karen and starts talking to her while smoking a cigarette. But from their conversation, we learn that Karen and Tom used to date each other in the past. Karen says to Tom, "You are always with Janet. Don't you ever get bored? Whatever you do with her, you can do that with me too." Saying this, Karen tries to come close to him, but Tom immediately stops her and says, "I agree that we used to date once, but now I love Janet and I don't want to cheat on her." Hearing this, Karen leaves from there. After this, the party starts. Everyone begins drinking, and they all enjoy the night. Soon, they drink so much that all the bottles are finished. Then, Patricia says that no one is in a condition to drive, but they still need more drinks. Janet says, "I haven't had anything to drink, so I can go to the market and get some bottles." As she is about to leave, Gretel decides to go with her. After reaching the market, while both of them are buying drinks, Janet suddenly sees Goodman standing there, but the next moment, he disappears. Seeing this, Janet gets very scared and starts searching for Goodman inside the shop, but she does not find him anywhere. She becomes very confused and immediately calls Tom. Tom tells her, "Maybe it's just your imagination. You shouldn't stress too much. You probably mistook someone else for him." As soon as Janet finishes talking on the phone and steps outside, she suddenly sees Goodman in a car. He stops the car right in front of her, looks at her, and then drives away after saying, "Bye." Janet gets extremely scared after seeing this. Without wasting time, she immediately tells Tom everything. Tom also gets confused and doesn't know what to do. So, he makes an excuse to Karen, takes the keys, and heads toward the gun room. Once inside, Tom secretly steals a gun from there. When Janet returns, both of them talk to each other. Then, they take out Goodman's briefcase and show it to everyone. They ask if anyone recognizes the briefcase or knows anything about it, but everyone says they have no idea. After this, Tom and Janet tell everyone the truth about Goodman and the briefcase. Hearing this, everyone gets shocked and asks, "Why didn't you tell us this earlier? What were you both doing till now?" Tom then asks, "Is anyone here a scientist? We need to find out what's inside these injections." Hearing this, Karen suddenly remembers that Arthur, who works with her, is a scientist. She immediately calls Arthur and tells him to bring his microscope and come to the mansion. After the call, she informs everyone that Arthur will arrive by tomorrow morning. She suggests that everyone should go to sleep now. But Donald expresses concern, saying, "What if Goodman comes here while we are sleeping?" To this, Patricia reassures everyone, the mansion is completely safe. There are motion sensors installed all around. No one can enter without us knowing. After this, everyone goes to sleep. However, even while lying in bed, they still feel scared that something might happen at night. Later, in the middle of the night, Tom suddenly wakes up and goes to the bathroom. When he looks at his waist, he notices something strange. It feels like someone has injected him. He gets extremely worried and immediately rushes to check Goodman's briefcase. When he opens it in the hall, he sees that one of the syringes is empty. Seeing this, he becomes even more disturbed. Just then, Karen arrives there. She moves closer to Tom and starts seducing him. Tom finds himself unable to control his emotions. At the same time, Janet suddenly wakes up. She looks at the security cameras installed throughout the house. On the screen in her room, she sees Tom and Karen together. Seeing this, Janet feels completely shattered. Her heart breaks into pieces. After this, when Tom returns to the room, Janet doesn't say anything to him. She quietly turns away and goes to sleep. The next day, Tom wakes up feeling extremely guilty for cheating on Janet. He regrets what happened the previous night. When he walks into the living room, his eyes suddenly land on something shocking. The picture of the good man. This picture wasn't there yesterday. Without wasting a second, he rushes straight to Patricia and asks her, "How did you find this house?" At first, Patricia hesitates and says that she found it on the internet. But Donald insists, "Tell them the truth, Patricia." After a brief pause, Patricia finally confesses, "A few weeks ago, my husband Donald lost his job, and we desperately needed a cheap house to live in. During that time, a man from my office approached me and said, 'I have a cheap house for you.' So, Donald and I started living here. And this weekend, I invited all of you so I could earn some money." Hearing this, Janet quickly shows her Goodman's picture and asks, "Was this the same man?" Patricia looks at the photo carefully and then nods. Yes. Tom and Janet immediately turn to everyone and say, "This is all a trick by Goodman. He's been watching us through the cameras. We need to leave this place right now." Hearing this, everyone panics and quickly rushes outside. But as they reach the cars and try to leave, they realize something horrifying. The main gate is completely locked. The gate has an automatic locking system, which makes everyone even more anxious. Donald, determined to open it, moves forward and touches the gate. But the moment he does, he gets a powerful electric shock and falls to the ground. In frustration, Tom takes out the gun he had stolen earlier, but soon realizes it's useless. Then suddenly, all their mobile phones start ringing at the same time. When they check their screens, they all see the same message: "Go back inside. Everything will be over soon." Left with no choice, everyone slowly walks back inside. As Janet steps through the entrance, something immediately catches her eye. Red-colored chairs, just like the ones she had seen in her dreams many times before. One by one, everyone sits on the chairs, anxiously wondering what will happen next. Then, a mysterious voice echoes throughout the mansion. "You all must reveal your secrets to each other. Only then will you be free from here." Then, after a moment, Janet looks at everyone and speaks first. "Yesterday, Karen got physical with my husband." Tom takes a deep breath and looks at everyone. "Karen gave me that injection while I was asleep, and that's why all this happened." Karen immediately responds, "Yes, I did inject Tom. But before that, I threw away the chemicals from the syringe. It was completely empty. I only did it to confuse him." Hearing this, Janet feels even worse, and Tom, filled with shame, lowers his head and says, "I couldn't control myself." Then turning to Vale, Karen demands, "Now why don't you tell your secret?" Vale sighs and looks directly at Karen. "I knew that you were cheating on me, but I never expected this level of betrayal." Karen scoffs, "You don't get to say anything. You've been having an affair with your assistant for 10 years, and the biggest truth about you, you're gay, and your assistant is a man." Then looking around, Karen asks, "Who here already knew that Vale was gay?" One by one, everyone slowly raises their hands. Patricia then steps forward and admits, "I invited Tom and Janet here only for money." Then, Gretel's voice trembles as she speaks. "My husband tortures me. Not a single day has passed without him beating me." One by one, everyone reveals their painful secrets, exposing the hidden truths of their relationships. After a long silence, Tom suddenly stands up and looks around. Then, he says, "Goodman, you've heard everything you wanted to hear. You wanted us all to break apart. Your work is done. Now let us go." Then, Goodman's voice echoes, "You may leave." It becomes clear. Goodman's only goal was to cause a rift between Tom and Janet. They had been together for 14 years without a single fight, something extremely rare. Goodman's purpose was to normalize relationships by ensuring that even the happiest couples faced struggles. But there was something even more terrifying about him. Goodman wasn't human. Despite being killed, he had come back to life. No one could kill him because he wasn't from this world. One by one, everyone leaves except for Tom and Janet. As they prepare to leave, Goodman suddenly appears behind them. Janet, unable to contain her anger, yells at him, "I don't care whether you're an angel, a devil, or something else entirely, but you are a horrible person." Goodman smirks. "If you want, you can still cash the check." Without hesitation, Tom takes the check and rips it apart right in front of him. Then, without looking back, Tom and Janet walk away. As they drive home, an uneasy silence fills the car. Tom, drowning in guilt, can't even look at Janet. Janet, on the other hand, sits quietly, lost in thought. Slowly, her mind drifts back to the beautiful moments she has shared with Tom over the years, the countless memories they built together. And in that moment, she makes a decision. She forgives him. Without saying a word, they stop the car at a quiet place. Then, unable to hold back anymore, they lean toward each other and share a deep kiss. Passion takes over, and their love reignites inside the car. And with this, the story ends. I hope you enjoyed this story. See you soon with another interesting one.
So friends, that's all in today's video. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, peace out.